know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
I don't think you guys walk away from this.
You just make sure people know what happened.
Peace, and blessing, everybody. First, I want to give thanks to the Almighty, the Most High, and I would like to also say I forgive the people who sin against me, trespass against me, and I ask people to forgive me for my sins. You feel? Because I am not perfect. I want to open this out by asking people, if I hurt you, forgive me. If you hurt me, I forgive you. You feel? In this life, we gotta understand morals. This show today is not about teaching morals, but you can learn lessons that can improve your morals. I'm Henry Williams, your host, and also with me is Shin Akama JML, the co-host. How you doing today, Shin?
Hey man, that was a awesome way to start the show up. So let me follow in line with, there's a lot of people I've hurt in my lifetime, so I want to ask them for forgiveness, you know what I mean? And I've been hurt by a lot of people in my lifetime, so I just want everybody to know I forgive them as well. And most importantly, I forgive myself for being out of line in times of bad moral judgment.
Yeah.
So, and unethical behavior. So, I just wanted to let that be known too, because this is a very solemn subject. And I just wanted to make sure that we started off on the right foot. All praises be to God, and that we can live to be able to ask people for forgiveness, because unfortunately there's some people who've lost their lives over the week, and God bless those people's families.
Yes. So the reason why we say God watch over the people family and look over them and blessings to them is two incidents occur in sight. And there's also incidents that happen behind the scenes. And also incidents that do not have nothing related to these issues, but it's still as important. The first thing is this is September. We is like 25%, I say 20, 30% close to the end of this year. And we have tragedy, a school shooting in the great state of Georgia, and a school shooting in the great state of Maryland. The one in Georgia, it injured many, and it took the life of 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers. And also in Maryland, we have the story of a student taking a firearm to school and injuring and eventually killing a student in a male restroom. From there, you have arrests of dozen teens in the state of Georgia and as well for making threats. Students making threats of injuring others at school or around the community. And on the side of that, you have the arrest of the father of the school shooter in Georgia, and you also get a backstory of the mother of the school shooter in Georgia. This will be brought to you in a moment. We're gonna bring it to you. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very touchy subject, but it's something that we need to touch on. Because the normal liberal left going to the extreme and the right going to the extreme, but two opposite extremes, like always.
Tell me if you hear.
Go ahead.
We start with the suspected Georgia.
Okay. Here y'all go, everyone.
We start with the suspected Georgia high school shooter and his father, both in court this morning. The judge told 14-year-old Colt Gray that he is facing life in prison without parole for allegedly killing 2 classmates and 2 teachers. In a historic case, prosecutors have also charged his father with multiple counts of second-degree murder, felony manslaughter, and cruelty to children. Sources tell NBC News that Colin Gray gave his son an AR-15 style rifle as a gift after the FBI already investigated the teenager for allegedly making threats online to shoot up a school last year. He was emotional in court. That is the father there, rocking back and forth throughout the hearing.
How old are you, Mr. Gray?
54.
And are you able to read and write, understand the English language without any difficulty?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney at all times for this and all future proceedings in your case?
Yes, sir.
We are covering all angles of the school shooting.
Before I go in, there's anything you would like to say?
It's just a tough situation all around. But there's one main thing that I would like to preface it with, and that's that the justice system doesn't get it right a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
But this time, charging the father, they got it right. I believe that wholeheartedly, that if the kids is under 18, the parents need to start getting some repercussions and feeling the burn, especially based on the considerations of what happened previously, speaking on the fact that they had already warned his son and the FBI already showed up to interrogate the son. And then you go out and buy him an AR-15 style rifle, AK-47 type rifle. After he done threatened to shoot up a school, the father is if you ask me, the father deserves to be on trial for life too, not just the son.
Yeah. So this is something that deal with this issue, but it's kind of beside the point, but it's an overview picture. So let's analyze this. We have in America a culture where not everybody have a mother and father. Let's say a child have just a father, and that father is taking care of a son and a daughter. That child and his sister. Or you would say it's a single mother taking care of 8 children, or 5, or 2. For one individual, actions is consequences and repercussion for many. For the people who lost their lives, for their family member and loved ones, and also to the family of the accusers and the suspects. Because now what occur is this: for these single parents, say that father have another child in that household and he the main breadwinner. He's about to go to jail also, and the son is about to go to jail. That's 2 generations ruined. One is about to do life, and the other one might do 25, might be 30 or 50 years and get out and will not have no chance to actually retire or even have a decent life moving forward. These are the impacts that occur. And looking outside of that, you have the children. I just posted videos about a fundraiser for St. Jude. This is the news. It means never in the working service. If I cannot serve the next generation and make life better for the people who come after me, what am I doing this for? Because the children is our future. This is what we need to prepare them. We need to look at the mistakes of the past and the mistakes that's going on right now and improve for tomorrow. Tomorrow is not promised to us, but to leave a lesson in the heads of the people who will be walking that path into tomorrow is the best thing we can leave on this earth and in our lifetime. We have teachers, educators who have aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, might be children. And when we dig deeper into the household, the mother, when people see the thumbnail of this video on Facebook, you see a woman on a picture. One is the father, and then we're gonna talk about why the other kid on the corner, but you see a woman on there in a prison outfit. This is the young man's mother. She was arrested for threatening to kill the father. Things going on in the household will affect the children at school, in their present life, and in the future. Things that we as an adult could actually change. We as adults, we do not have a leash around our neck. We freely could love our children. We freely could sit down and actually talk to them and prepare them a journey. I don't know about every one household because I don't have no children of my own from my loins. So I don't have that opportunity to just sit there and speak to a child the way I could really do because I have nephew and nieces. I could only go so far with them. It's up to their parents to actually instill and help them to understand on their journey. And that is for every parent.
Well, let me interject with this too, because this is
Yeah.
about up my alley. I don't have any kids either, you know what I mean? So I can't really tell anybody how to parent their kids.
Yeah.
But I do have nieces and nephews, a handful of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do have younger brothers and sisters who are younger than me by over 10 years. So it does ring a bell on everything that's going on. You got to be the example. That's what my dad always told me. You be the example of what you want your brothers and sisters, your nieces and nephews, your kids, who you want them to be. You must be the example of that. You can't just speak high morality and high ethics and then you as a human being have low ethical value, meaning that your choices that you make in your life is not functional to the moral codes that you're perpetrating against yourself. Because if you know what I mean, if you're going to be a good person, then you need to be a good person in all your choices that you make. We all got vices, but there's no need for us to step out of line and have our kids involved in indiscriminate use of firearms.
Yeah. Yes, and going, yes, and for a parent's sake, I don't care what anyone say. Let's put a big screen. Let's put this screen down for a while.
I got a question for you, Henry.
Yeah.
What do you forget about the kid, right? Because the kid, he's 14.
Yeah.
I personally feel like he's gonna get what's coming to him. We already know they said it right there outright in the story. He's gonna catch life.
Yeah.
We know there's no way he's not gonna get life. We know we've seen these situations play out. He might never get a parole. Like you said, that's a generation lost. Not only is it a generation lost, but it's a bloodline loss too, because now the son is in jail. So he's never going to have a kid. He was 14. So this is basically cutting these people's bloodline off.
Yeah.
But it all goes back to blame the pappy, because what father in their right mind, when their son has the FBI come to the house, probably should have been psychoanalysis, brought into a mental institution and given some treatment. Instead, you go out and buy your son an AK-47 style assault rifle, which he then goes to perpetrate the exact crime that the FBI came and warned you that he was online making threats to commit. Now, how would you feel about that when it comes to the father?
So my first instinct is this. You feel something simple. I'm like, if a mother or father could buy their child a car at 16, they don't just buy the car and like, oh, here you go, I'm gonna give you the car. It's a process. And that process is get your learning permit. How can you jump in that ride if you don't have no permit? Even if that child, see, people gotta understand, a rifle for any age in America, dealing with the main law, anybody under the age of 18 can have a rifle with a parent's supervision. So with that law, it's with parent supervision. So I believe taking children to the gun range, taking them to local gun organization meeting where, speaking of safety, the proper way of actually having a gun, that's just point blank for every parent. But when it came down to this parent, he is wrong. He was wrong.
Agreed.
Because it's like, if someone say, hey, over the phone or in the house and say, hey, I'm about to go kill somebody, and you know that, and you could call the police or tell somebody like, hey, this is person about to go and commit a horrible crime, you is saving lives. But to buy a weapon knowing well that the police themselves, the FBI, the police, the local police, law enforcement, told his father that your son made threats online on a website that mainly for gamers. So that means they knew that this child had mental or a traumatic problem. And the father bought the gun for him, bought it. My father had guns every 4th of July and every New Year. He had the shotgun, and we get right there with him, and he hold it and let us shoot it. But buying a personal gun for your child at an age where he still smelling himself, not even taking baths correctly, that is absurd.
And it's even crazier because you got to think about it like this, right? The father might as well be the co-defendant. He shouldn't even be brought up on alternative charges. He should be charged with everything the son is charged with as the co-defendant, because he might as well been up in the school shooting with him.
Yes, I believe that's was the charges that the father is facing, but
He's the co-defendant.
he facing extra. The father is facing extra. That's when it come down to cruelty of juvenile, because when
That was extreme negligence.
One with the killing of the children in the school, and also with the giving of the gun, that is a cruel lesson to give a gun to a child. That is cruelty to that child, because you is putting in his head the capability, you giving him the means to actually act out his thoughts, because his thoughts will become a vision, and that vision will become reality because you gave him the tool to use to create that situation. And I believe that the father also with you. I don't disagree with you, Shin Akma. I agree the father is wrong. We have guests on the panel that also believe that the father is wrong. So I'm gonna read these comments before we go to the next video. We have Killer B, the Witchfinder General. I went on his channel yesterday. We had a good interview. I'm sorry I was late, but we made it. I was able to get the point out, and we're going to have more discussion. Okay, we have Latoya Johnson. How you doing? She say, hello, you guys. Going into the discussion, she said the father is definitely wrong. We agree with that. No control as a parent. The father should go to jail also. So we are not the only ones saying this. So it's basically the father is promoting that it's okay to carry guns and harm people. What exactly did these kids do to deserve that? That is a great question. Even not just the children, but the teachers. 2 teachers. This is a very sad situation here.
I would have to say that with the blatant disrespect and disregard to the law that the father shown. Now, I'm not saying that the son should get mercy, but maybe they should think about, giving him some parole or something in 30 years, 40 years, something like that. He'll be 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll have had a time to think about what he's done all that time. And obviously people in jail ain't going to let him live it down. But I also think that it might be too harsh of a penalty on the son based on the fact that he's only 14 years old. So he's being influenced, is the best word to say, by his father.
Yeah.
His father giving him that gun as a gift is basically giving him permission to do whatever he wanted to do with it.
Yes, yes.
Especially because the father wasn't responsible enough to put the bullets up or to lock the gun up when he's not using the gun with his son. Yeah. His son had obvious free access to the actual firearm. And I kind of find it outrageous because, most of us can't get a gun till we 18.
Yeah.
And, and your father is willing to buy you a firearm and gift it to you. You would think that people would take that as an honor and a respect to, show some chivalry and show some honor and keep the guns for what they're supposed to. Like you said, go to the firing range, practice gun safety, and, you know, follow the laws, just like driving.
Yes, this is a sad situation. It's tragedy to see so many people lose their lives for no reason. But at the same time, I know a lot of people see signs in this young man. Yes, when the police and the FBI themselves come to the father and say, "Hey, your son made threats." That's why I like in some situations. That's why reason to doubt. You feel? That's why I feel like reason to doubt. In some situation, if a mother is raising a single parent home and the child go out, or father raising his children on his own, and the child go out there and do it on their own accord, the father didn't give them the gun, they wind up finding it on the streets or somewhere. Somehow they got their hand into some on their own accord. I don't feel like blaming the parent. But when you blankly was warned about something that your son can commit a crime and injure himself or others, and you blankly give him for Christmas a gun. I feel when it comes down to the son, I feel like the best lawyer could get this young boy into a situation where he enter into a mental verdict, because you have a history of the mother going to jail for threatening the father. You have the father giving the boy the asset of a gun. And you have now the father made statements that people at the school was calling his son gay, homosexual, you feel, and bullying him. So I feel like he have a chance to claim mental illness for his surrounding and stuff. Will it work? I don't know. I am not a lawyer. I cannot give no legal advice. I can only give my opinion. Don't sue me, don't hurt me, don't come hunt me down and say, Henry, you're standing up for that boy. I'm just giving opinion on the news. So we have some more, we're gonna read some more comments and then we're gonna go to the next video. He was a disturbed child. Maybe it was the father who really wanted to do this, but knew that he was go to jail, so instead he made his child do it. Oh wow. Yeah, very very sad. So now,
Well, I got one last thing to say about this.
yeah.
And it has to do with our own people, right?
Yeah.
Black and brown people. You know, like our kids be out here sliding on each other on a regular everyday basis, right?
Yeah.
Taking each other's lives and shooting up people, like here in Providence last weekend, a 7-year-old girl got shot and killed in the crossfire of a attempt to murder someone at their home. So it's not something as a society that we can ignore. And this story itself just shows that this gun violence stretches across the demographics. It's not just a black or a brown people problem. It's not just a white people or Chinese people problem or anybody else in the world. It's affecting all of our kids. And I believe it goes back to what you're always harping on, Henry, which is propaganda.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto games, Call of Duty games, all these violent movies and stuff. These kids have a social programming to pick up guns and be violent when they can't physically or verbally defend themselves. Like you said, they were calling this boy all types of flagrant names, and I don't want to get too deep into that because then we might get into offense of our fellows of the letter community. And we just want to say, like, it's not good for us to treat our kids with malfeasance and abuse on a verbal level or even on a visual level, because obviously he wasn't being abused physically, but his mother and father were definitely getting physically abusive with each other. So
Yeah.
that's what he knows is violence.
Yes, yes. Ooh. Ooh. Dangerous situation. So before we move on, beside this, dealing with this story, you have parents and you have concerned citizens in Georgia and around the nation mad at certain news stations. What they mad at? They are mad at when it first came to light that it was a shooting in Georgia. As being a juvenile, they very, very selective on the time, the space, and all the detail. They got to have all the detail together before they release information on the juvenile, his name, picture, and so forth. Before they released that information, they were showing a picture of one of the victims, the young boy, an African American, knowing that the state of Georgia is majority of African American. Some parents felt like that by just posting this young man picture, the victim, it was subconsciously propaganda in people's head that this young boy who is a victim is the suspect. So they was calling the news reporter station to change the imagery. So let's
Yeah,
go
but you
to
know how that goes. They're just trying to perpetrate the fraud that it's people of color who commit these crimes, when 90% of the time it's not people of color who do school shootings or mass casualty events like this in extremely public commercial places.
yeah. So we gonna go into Maryland because this just happened this week. So I'm gonna go to the 2-hour one because they're gonna have more information. So let me go ahead and blow this up.
You no longer have to go to Harvard to manage other people's funds.
Commercial.
If you're 18 or older, you can take their time.
More breaking news. We have a really sad update out of a Baltimore area high school. The Harford County Sheriff's Department announcing just a short time ago that the 15-year-old boy shot today in the bathroom at Joppatowne High School has died, and that the 16-year-old suspect will be charged as an adult in this case. The sheriff says the shooting happened around 12:30 this afternoon. It stemmed from a fight between those two students. 15-year-old Warren Grant was flown to a trauma center, but he died from those injuries. Just a short time ago, we heard from the principal of Joppatowne High School, Melissa Williams.
First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers are with the family of this amazing young man, with his friends, with all of our staff members, with all of our students. Joppatowne is a loving and strong community who will, without a doubt, rally among our families, support one another, and continue to support our community.
According to the sheriff, the 16-year-old suspect had escaped to some nearby houses. He was arrested within minutes thanks to help from the community. The Harford County Sheriff.
Another shooting. Another individual deceased. Two individual families and loved ones and friends is affected. So for the questions for the people in the comment, because people wanted to know if the shooter was black or white. Okay. In the first shooting in Georgia, it was a you could say a white individual, a young, but it sounds more properly, so I'm gonna try to say a young Caucasian American did the shooting in this situation. This next situation, I'm glad I did my research because I'm about to say an African American done the shooting in the Baltimore area because when I saw the word Jaylen, I'm not trying to be stereotypic, but we gotta point out the obvious. When somebody hear the name Jaylen, they like, yeah, I know a lot of Jaylen in the African American community. But this is an Asian American, not trying to be racist, not trying to not trying to go bias here. But this is an Asian American young man, and as we see for this second story, it was a fight in a restaurant. When I used to fight at school, it was with D. I wanted to hurry up, do my little damage, and walk out the restroom before getting caught. It's always a crowd and stuff, but it is going too far. When a child have to feel like he have to get a gun and go to school and use it on anyone. It hurt me, but it happened. One thing I could tell you, because I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put my political views on this, and I'm gonna tell you that I am conservative when it comes down to gun rights. So I don't feel like they should go around and take everybody guns because of these situations. They're just like, hey, somebody used their computer and hit somebody in the head. Should we take everybody computers out the classroom? No. But I do believe that we need moral structure, discipline, and more time with our children, communication with our children, family meetings where you could sit down and say, hey, through this week I was troubled and I did not know how to handle this situation. Build that openness with your children to the point that they don't have to fear. I'm not saying be their friend to the point that they would disrespect you and others and feel as an adult, but have them to the point that y'all can communicate worries, happiness, fear. Because we was all children once. This generation need the generation that came before them, and they need communication. This is the age of information. If you not communicating with them, there's many other things that will be communicating with them. Playing a game in the chat room. You not good. You getting beat. People cussing you out and messing with you. You make a threat. That threat come into real life tuition. If the child was bullied in this second story, he went to school and fight. You heard the community. That's a small town in Maryland. The high school is named after the town. So you will mainly say that it might have around 2 or 3 elementary, 1 or 2 middle school, but the other middle school is in another district. And you have 1 high school that everybody go to. That means everybody know everybody type of situation. So in that type of situation, the whole town is affected. You have children who know both people. You have children who know one side. You know children who know the other. You got teachers. Gotta talk to students. Students don't know if they should go to school the next week. This is sad. So let me read the comments, and we're gonna have Shin Akuma tune in. So it say, kids are really killing self, being bullied. Wait, let me go to this one. This generation is totally different, and it's so sad because I remember as a kid, men will put their guns down and fight with their hands. Now it's so scared to even be riding in your car and look. Guys are getting in school. Yeah, guns are getting in school so easy. I know in when I seen movie like Ursha in New York, they had cages with metal detectors. Some school metal detectors.
Hey, I'd like to say something about that.
Go ahead.
I went to a high school where we didn't have metal detectors.
Yeah.
And that was because in the high schools in the city that I went to, there's a lot of people who do get shot and a lot of people murders do be happening. But it's like school is supposed to be a safe haven because it's a learning establishment, right?
Yeah.
Just like colleges, you know what I mean? Just like medical facilities. These are supposed to be areas where people are subject to peace because those are the type of scholastic or medical environments that people need to be at peace to be able to focus on the tasks at hand, whether it's to become healthy or whether it's to become educated people and good upstanding members of society. I thought that's what we teach in schools. But maybe we also need to, because we're always talking about the people who are the people that did the crimes.
Yeah.
The parents of the people who did the crimes. But let's turn the scope a little bit, because I have a feeling that from my own scholastic history that there's a good majority of the teachers who don't care about their students nowadays. It's not like when we was in school, you know what I mean? Each one teach one, like the teachers used to be involved in our lives, asking us how we're feeling today, asking us how our family's doing, asking us how our brothers and sisters are, et cetera, et cetera. And if you had like a depression or you was going through things, the teachers actually cared about you. Yeah. Nowadays, I feel like a lot of people just work for a check, especially with the lack of discipline in the households and the way that these parents are not teaching their kids home training.
Yes.
And it's very sad to see, because now even the teachers are becoming like the parents, and it's a negligence problem from the adults who are supposed to be supervising and in charge of these children's lives.
Yeah. It's sad, but what you said is very, very true. It's a lot of issues going on with teachers and also parents. We gotta understand that when we look at our government and see like, dang, we got two bad choices with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. You got United States supporting the genocide in Israel, in Gaza Strip. The government is a reflect the outside.
We might as well just say the government is complacent with with gun violence and militaristic action, and that's part of the propaganda.
Yeah, and you could also say that the outside is the reflection of the inside. So as United States was like the moral for good. You would say we know we like that never happened for our people, but the image that it showed the world was United States, the global force for good. We beat the Nazis back. We the big dog. Our people is happy. The 60s dancing, everybody good, jolly. But now,
Well, I would also have to say, post 9/11 until about 2018, 2019, America was trending in a good direction when it came to the murder rates and the gun violence rate. Everything was dropping pretty significantly. It wasn't until around, CV-19 that all this stuff actually started picking up and ramping up, especially when it came down to everybody could wear ski masks all the time. And now this generation of kids thinks it's okay to walk around with ski masks on looking like assailants.
yeah. And the sad part is things about to get more worse than they get better, because with crime, it also an economic part behind things. When I go in the store and want to buy like a little Debbie donuts, the little powdered donuts in the pack, and the store person say it's around $2 and something, when you try to get an Arizona where it's supposed to be $1, but they say $1.25, but add taxes is $1.45, and then the taxes of the donut make it around $4 and some close to $5. You don't want to buy that. You feel? Because prices going high. It's like, should I save my money? I need to be frugal. Should I help others with my money? Should I keep my money? Should I go rob to get more money? Should I get a job? Should I get 3 jobs to be able to at least save some of my money and have some money to enjoy life? And you have children who trying to be adults because their background, they're gonna go get it. And as a child, and you gonna get it in the rough life, you sometimes you gotta get it as you live. And in the streets, sometimes there's no moral code. But a
Yeah, but
lot of
see, in
time,
these two stories, that's the exact opposite, if you ask me.
but
They look like they came from some good middle income families,
yeah,
people who go to work and work hard every day. And that's where I don't understand the lapse of judgment with the father in Georgia, but the Asian kid in Maryland, it just proved my point that I said earlier, that the gun violence is going beyond the demographics. It's beyond demographics out here. It's something that, as a nation, we need to see what's going on with these children in their psyche. And maybe it has to do with that as parents, they're too lenient.
yeah,
Like me, I wasn't allowed to play violent video games till I was a certain age and understanding. And even so, my dad, he played the games with me, and he always made sure we had an understanding that that's a video game and that those rules don't apply to life.
yeah. So let's say this. Let's say this. You know about Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
You know about Digimon?
Yes, I do.
people in your class era, in your class, was y'all trading and dealing with Pokemon?
Yes, sir.
Dragon
You
Ball Z
know, we
too?
was the first wave.
So Dragon Ball Z also, right?
Yep.
So you in your class, you wasn't the only one who knew about Dragon Ball Z, right?
No, I wasn't.
So let's look at this. In trending, you have era on TV because TV and the internet play a big part in development of the children of today. We won't lie and we won't sugarcoat it. TV and the internet play a valuable role in our children's lives, the next generation lives. So if you was in your class trading Pokemon, other people were trading with you. If you was taking a Dragon Ball Z picture and putting it in the window and tracing it, somebody else was doing it. So now we is in an era where the superheroes is Ghost Alpha Power. The superheroes is Cookie and Lucius Alpha Empire. Okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because in this era it's different. Like in my era, we was it was, this is gonna age me a little bit, but the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We was at school trying to be the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids is going to school talking about how they can't wait to get a strap and start sliding on their ops in elementary school.
And and even in the music where like I listen to, like, okay, his name is NLE Chopper. He like, I want to do a drive-by, but I want to walk on. With that, think about Grand Theft Auto. People just jump out the car and walk up to the person, bust at them, and walk back in the car and drive out. So you in the point where you had that mind frame, and it's not just one ethnic group, but a whole culture of young individuals able to buy these games. And I know that these games is like being provided to people who is not even age worthy to even comprehend them games. Because parents like, hey, I gotta work, I don't have a babysitter, you stay inside the house and play your video game.
And don't forget too, they got the VR now too, where it's virtual reality.
Yeah.
And I personally, when I tried it, at first I was skeptical, until I played it, because I was like, man, how can you have that thing on your head and really feel like you're in the game? Until I actually played it, and you really do feel like you're in the game.
Yeah.
And I know that Grand Theft Auto is one of those games that you can get it on the VR headsets. So I can only imagine, like, it's like you just jumping out, hitting somebody up. And that's why I personally had to stop playing Grand Theft Auto, because I started feeling like I was getting a psychosis from playing the game. I was getting brainwashed by the game. I could feel it, because it makes you feel more tendency to be violent, to want to shoot somebody, and especially these kids nowadays, because they don't even go outside or play sports anymore. They don't even go. They don't even do anything to occupy their time other than playing these violent games. So that's all they really know. Not to make an excuse, but speaking on the programming, like you were saying, with the TV, the internet, the video games as being the major influences, because kids rather listen to their favorite rapper, give them advice about life, or they rather take what they learned in the game and try to bring it into the real life mannerisms and the way that they behave. And this is a very intricate and unique subject, but at the same time, it's going to take what we always say here at News. it's going to take the community to change it. It's not going to be individual parenting. It's as a community.
Yeah.
Until like personally, I believe this is my own, and I used to work for a video game company, GameStop, and I used to see it all the time. 7, 8-year-old kids bringing their mom or their dad into the store because they can't buy the Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah. So
I feel like that when it comes to games like Grand Theft Auto, they shouldn't even have a rating. It should be strictly like liquor. If you're not over the age of 18 and don't have an ID, you cannot buy that game, period.
Yeah.
I don't care if you come in with an adult. If an adult comes in and their kid says they want Grand Theft Auto, they shouldn't let the adults buy it, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because the extreme violence in the game and the inability of the game itself to speak on the fabrication of the simulated reality in which the game is perpetrated.
Facts. Like a main thing you said earlier that it kept on ringing in my ear, You be hitting on some good points. No excuses. You not making up excuses. The video games is not the problem, but it is a pusher. You feel like give you a little push, like come on.
Like peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Come on to the mind. But at the end of the day, it is you as a parent that can say, no, I don't feel like you, while in my household, deserve this because it's not age appropriate. You as a young man or young female, if teenagers are watching this, you have the capability to put the gun down, put violence down. Even you don't even have to play the game. I'm gonna be honest with you off top. I never owned Grand Theft Auto game in my life. None of them. You feel? I only had 2 video games in my whole life. And the main game I used to play was Spiral and football games. That's it. Football games and Spiral on the PlayStation. But other than that, that's the 2 games I mainly played. And Dragon Ball on Z and Naruto on Budokai and all that stuff. I was into stuff like that. Fighting with your hand. Fighting to live another day. Nothing about guns.
And Dragon Ball Z and Naruto, for the people who are not affiliated with anime, those are some very good life-changing shows when you listen to the principles and you understand the power that they teach you in those shows about personal responsibility and accountability with one's power. You can't just be the strongest people and then use your power indiscriminately. That's one thing I've learned from Dragon Ball, Naruto, and various animes. Sometimes your parents don't teach you these things because, sometimes your parents want to teach you to be tough.
Yeah.
My father taught me to be tough, but he never taught me to be a tyrant or a bully. But some kids, their parents teach them to be bullies, like the kid who got shot in Maryland. We have to bring that up, like that. He was bullying the kid and then got shot and killed.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, demographically speaking, not when it comes to races, but demographically speaking, as in the genre of adolescents, they are very susceptible to social and peer review.
Yeah.
They have very low self esteem, and they definitely have a problem with fitting in sometimes. Especially, they were saying this is an Asian kid. He was probably living in a majority Caucasian American town. And he was probably one of the only Asian people in the whole town outside of his parents. So he probably felt like he didn't have anybody to turn to, which this is where, like I was saying, it takes the community to bridge those gaps, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe his parents is foreign to the point where they're not even really friends with people in the community because of the demographic difference.
Yeah. So let's go to the next video for everyone. No, I don't want me in there. Okay.
Videos, wondering why you can't find the motivation to do the things you need.
In the wake of the school shooting, today has seen a flood of school threats across our communities, and with that, several swift arrests.
You know, Fox 5's Kevin Stewart is at the live desk with details. Kevin.
Eric and Courtney, authorities say this is no joke, never has been, especially now. In the past 48 hours, Gwinnett County alone, the school system says it has investigated about 300 social media threats. In Gwinnett County, one county over from the tragic school shooting in Barrow County, 2 teens face charges in 2 separate cases. Thursday at Meadow Creek High, a student is accused of making threats against the school on social media.
He admitted that he did it because he wanted to avoid going to school.
At Archer High, a student is alleged to have texted her boyfriend that there was an active shooter situation here. That was a lie.
That student was criminally charged with terroristic threats and is also facing discipline consequences within the school.
A 17-year-old from Flowery Branch, Jaylen Justice, and a 13-year-old are similarly charged in Hall County in separate cases. Justice is accused of threatening Cherokee Bluff High. The 13-year-old is accused of doing the same at Johnson High and South Hall Middle School. Friday morning in Cartersville, the school system was put on a soft lockdown at all schools after a since unfounded claim that someone was on the way with a gun to Cartersville Middle School. In Monroe County, 26-year-old Chris Cooper is charged with disseminating information relating to terroristic threats after an incident there.
We take every threat seriously.
Athens Clark County PD worked overnight to nab a 12-year-old who allegedly posted pictures of guns implying violence at different schools.
It is a very serious threat, implied or not. So the images of guns, they do this to stir the feelings. They want to make people afraid to go to school. And once that post hits the internet, it is spread to thousands upon thousands of accounts. So that fear is not isolated. You could get up to 5 years in prison for this, even as a juvenile.
Yeah, serious charges there. Now, I can also tell you that a 12-year-old has been charged in Jackson County, a 13-year-old has been charged in Newton County, and we've just learned a 14-year-old has been charged in DeKalb County. Police say this is a good time for families to talk to their kids about the risk of making these types of threats. They will be held accountable. From the live desk.
12, 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The brain is not fully mature. We look.
Those kids only know what they've been taught.
Facebook, Twitter, Inbound, all these social media sites. Police is watching. The Fed is watching every social media site with the bots and the AI here, bomb, shooting, certain threats, certain type of word. They will report it to the FBI. Parents, these is the new things you should be talking to your children about. I don't care if they're 8 years old and you buy them a BB gun. They'll still take that BB gun to school to play and say, look what I got. and then another student tell on them. Whatever the case, if they get told on or not, they should not bring it. We should have these conversations, because by them going on Facebook or going online and making any comment about killing or injuring any other individual will get your children jail time.
Yeah, that's a quick 5 they just said.
Let's think about 5 years. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 years old in a juvenile detention home, you might get a GED. You might mess up and don't even get a high school diploma. And when he turned 18, they just kick him to the street. And these children do not fully have time to actually deal with their peers. Being locked up in the jail, getting told what to do, not able to walk freely and know how to guide themselves in this world. It is creating another step for that person to enter into the prison system again. We, as adults, need to help the children of the next generation. We need to be open. We need to be frank. We need to have conversations with them about their safety. This is I'm not just talking to the African American community. I'm talking to American period, because I love myself for one, and I love the world. Because in the world, I have nephews, nieces, I have friends that I just meet, and people that I been know, that I want them to live this life to their best of their ability and live long and prosper. I don't want nobody to do anything to my nephew, nieces. I don't want them to do anything to your children or your nephew and nieces or your cousins. But the making threats on the internet is something that parents need to go ahead and talk to their children about.
Personally, do I think the police overreacted in that last story throughout Georgia?
Yeah.
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it was about a 5 on the overreaction.
Yeah.
They didn't have to arrest all them kids, but knowing what just happened, I see why they're willing to make these children examples.
Yeah.
Now, do I think they all deserve the 5 years? I would say that goes into the judge's hands to the extent of the threats and the ability of mobilization has to come into play with that. Like, does that 12-year-old kid who was posting up pictures on the net of just firearms, does he need to go to jail for 5 years? No, he just seemed like he might need somebody to guide him a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe even, these kids, they just, like I said, we need a stronger community presence. Not just the parents, but we do need our crossing guards, our school security, our teachers, the coaches, people working at the corner store. They need to influence these kids to be positive so they can reach their potential.
What was that P word you said?
Positive.
Say it again.
It's positivity, brother.
I love that word. I love that word. You feel?
That goes back to my saying, right? Positive vibes brings positive results.
Yeah.
And if you're getting positive results, then you're accomplishing your goals, right?
Yeah.
You're fulfilling your potential and your purpose. The 5 P's: proper preparation prevents a poor performance. And you want to be able to fulfill your purpose. God put us all here on the earth to fulfill a purpose. And when we use our free will well, in these cases, I won't say that it's free will. I would say that when they use their will, because it's not free, because they have parents whose is the free will, that they needed better guidance in these cases, because guidance is what kept me from being on the streets. Guidance is what kept me from having gun violence. My aunts, my uncles, especially my own parents, my own parents didn't even let me even own a cap gun,
Like,
and I was training to be in the military my whole life, and my parents never even let me have a pretend gun.
yeah, yes. So I'm like this, like I used to swim in the ditch when it rained, it flood. I swam in the ditch. I go out and walk through the woods.
I used to love doing that, walking through the woods.
I would take mud, dirt, sand and stuff, build stuff. I would do all type of stuff.
Riding bikes.
As a child. Yes, riding bikes and everything to enjoy a childhood. I was like, in my life, I was put in foster care at one point in my life. From the age of 13 to the age of 18. So school was my sanctuary. Then being in a group home with all type of boys and stuff, the school was my sanctuary. So I had to live that life being separated from parents and stuff, and being in a system where people is over your head, tell you when to wake up, when to go to school, when to lay down, when to eat and stuff like that. So by no choice of my own, because of the situation. But these children have parents and guardians that should be aware of the 360 effect. That means everything surrounded us from front to back, back to front, a full circle. So we're gonna touch more on this subject in many more topics. I know I was doing the subject about Jesus, but this is a subject that I felt like everybody should have been able to understand what's going on here in America around us. And I'm glad that we have more people in the comment section tonight. Thank you all. And I'm going to rest my case. You have anything else to say, Shin Akuma? We're going to close with your argument because I got to go ahead and charge my phone.
Well, I'll make it short and sweet so we can get out of here on the 15-minute mark. So I just wanted to say, like, you can look at me and Henry as some prime examples of how to move, because I came from a well-to-do middle-class family, and I didn't fall into those social traps. Henry, he was moving through the system at the same age that these kids are in well-established homes, destroying their lives, but yet here you are, a productive member of society. You joined the military, you served the country, we're still serving the country now. We grew up with morality and ethics, to go back to this full circle for the show, like, and I feel like it's about time for us to close out the show the same way we began the show. First of all, I want to say all praises to the Most High God, because without God, we wouldn't be here. God bless the people God bless the people whose lives was taken. God bless the people whose lives is going to be lost into the penitentiary. And I just want to say, you know, to all my family, friends, and people I care about, I love y'all. You know what I mean? We might not talk every day. We might not see each other, but, you know, things like this will give you some perspective on life and remind you about not what you don't have, but everything that you do have, and to have gratitude.
Yes, yes. And I got this bird right here. It's not to show off, but it's inspiration. In my mind, when I see this bird, it tell everybody, let's fly high. Let's fly so high that we don't even have to look behind our head, because nothing could fly higher than us that could stop us.
Right?
We only looking ahead of us. And when we looking down, it's only to pick up some money on the ground.
Hey.
So
and or to say God bless America too, you know.
Yeah.
That's what that eagle's also for.
So I got 2 bells, you feel. So I'm gonna ring us out for the souls that was lost this week, and for the people who love one who is sick or anything, so grandma, grandpa, or anyone. If you have a birthday coming up, or you want me to wish a shout out to a family member, the next show we could do that. But let's end this show off ringing the bell for the ones lost.
God bless America.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
I don't think you guys walk away from this.
You just make sure people know what happened.